Bengal is boiling. 2 people have been killed and 4 injured in a bomb explosion in West Bengal. This is the latest in a series of violent incidents that have rocked the state in the past 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Harsha Subramaniam. The question is, what is the reason behind the sharp increase in violence? Is there a breakdown in the law and order in the state? I'm joined by Shogoto Roy, senior leader of the Trinamool Congress. Mr. Roy, thank you so much for joining in. Tell us what is going on. What is the reason behind this escalation in violence? What is your government doing, and what really is going on the ground?
After the election results have been out, BJP has thought that they have come to power here. So they are on a mayhem. They are creating mayhem and they are attacking Trinamool Congress offices, Trinamool Congress workers, creating trouble and mayhem all around. In some places, TMC workers are resisting, which is leading to clashes. But it's an entirely a situation created by the BJP.
Okay. Mr. Roy, the BJP says the situation in the state has prompted even the Union Home Ministry to ask for an action taken report. The BJP accuses that the Bengal government has lost control of law and order. What would your response to that be?
No, that's absolutely false. Law and order is under control. The central government has sent an advisory. I think it's an overreaction by the central government. But still the state government has immediately replied to it. And now the governor has said that he has not recommended president's rule. So that should settle the matter.
Politically speaking, what is the Trinamool's response, sir? Are you reaching out to the BJP to calm some nerves?
No.
What is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, there is no question of reaching out to the BJP. It's they who have come to power at the center. It's they who are creating trouble in Bengal. It's for the BJP central leadership to control the accusations. Kedar or whoever is in West Bengal. Most of these BJP people have recently joined the BJP from CPM or Trinamool or some other places. So they should get a hold on them. That's all. We have no plans of reaching out.
Okay. Sir, there is obviously a completely new political paradigm that's taken place in the state of West Bengal. But this political violence that we are seeing, I'm told it's always been there in the history of Bengal politics. But isn't there a better way of dealing with the opposition?
Violence, any violence that takes place is unfortunate. Any death that takes place is unfortunate. But Trinamool, after the elections, is the BJP who has initiated violence all along. TMC has nothing to do with it. We have only resisted in some cases.
All right, thank you, Mr. Roy. That was the voice of the Trinamool. I'm now joined by Dilip Ghosh, State President of the BJP from West Bengal. Mr. Ghosh, thanks so much for joining us. The TMC says that you are responsible for this violence in Bengal. What is your reading of the situation on the ground?
देखिए, बंगाल में ये जो वायलेंस पॉलिटिक्स की नई बात नहीं है. कम्युनिस्टों ने इसका शुरुआत किया था. परम पर था, लोगों ने परिवर्तन किया. 2-4 साल ठीक ठाक चला, लेकिन ये जो पार्टी है टीएमसी, ना कोई विचारधारा है, ना कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, कोई डिसिप्लिन है. जितने एंटी सोशल इस पार्टी में है. और सारा प्रशासन भी इनके हाथ में चला गया है. ये जो संदेशकाली में मार हुआ, जिन लोगों ने खून किया, इनके नाम पर कंप्लेन है. दूसरे दिन टीएमसी लीडर और मिनिस्टर के साथ सारे हथियार लेके घूम रहे हैं. कोई लोग बाइक रैली कर रहे हैं, कमर में बंदूक लेके गुंडा, पुलिस और नेता हाथ में जाके घूम रहे हैं. तो जो पार्टी इसका बढ़ावा दे रहा है वायलेंस का, पुलिस के सामने गुंडे सारे घूमते हैं, तो वहाँ तो आप आशा ही नहीं कर सकते कि यहाँ कोई शांति होगा. क्योंकि ये सरकार चाहती नहीं है.
Mr. Ghosh,
एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इनके हाथ से बाहर चला गया है.
Mr. Ghosh, Mamata Banerjee says this is a conspiracy. She's accusing the BJP of engineering the violence to topple her government. What would be your response?
देखिए, चुनाव हुआ, 542 सीट में चुनाव हुआ. केवल 42 वेस्ट बंगाल में सीट जो है उसमें हिंसा हुआ और मर्डर भी हुई. और उसके बाद करीब 10-12 मर्डर हो चुके पिछले 15-20 दिन में. तो बाकी देखा तो नहीं हो रहा है. बीजेपी तो सब जगह है. बीजेपी की कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है लोगों को छोड़ करके पॉलिटिक्स चलाए और सत्ता में आए. इसके पहले कई स्टेट में सत्ता में आए हैं, तो जो विफल हो चुके हैं. सत्ता की बागडोर इनके हाथ से बाहर चली गई है. शासन प्रशासन पर कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है, पुलिस पर कंट्रोल नहीं है. 3500 साल सरेआम घूम करके और हिंसा और भय के वातावरण बना है.
Okay, Mr. Ghosh, is the BJP now is creating a situation for president's rule to be imposed in the state?
देखिए, अभी भी प्रेसिडेंट रूल की हमने डिमांड नहीं की है, लेकिन सिचुएशन उसी तरफ जा रही है. कहीं पर कोई शासन नहीं है. आज की मैं बोल रहा हूँ, 3 मेडिकल कॉलेज में अभी स्ट्राइक शुरू हो गया है, डॉक्टर्स ने किया है. डॉक्टर्स पर हमला हुआ है, उनकी कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. इसलिए डॉक्टर पेन डाउन कर दिए हैं, स्ट्राइक कर दिए हैं, काम नहीं हो रहा है. बीमार लोग रास्ते में हैं और गांव में कोई डॉक्टर जाना नहीं चाहते, उनका सुरक्षा नहीं है. इसलिए तो क्या चल रहा है, ऐसे चल सकता है शासन?
All right, Mr. Ghosh, that's the BJP's voice for you. While the blame game between both the parties, the Trinamool Congress and the BJP continues, we'll also get you an objective, neutral voice on the ground from Kolkata. Subhajit Bagchi, Chief of Bureau of the Hindu at Kolkata, joins us. Subhajit, thank you so much indeed for joining us today. This is not the first instance of violence that we have seen. It's been reported from Basirhat a couple of days ago, and now different parts of state as well. Now that the elections are over, what seems to be the provocation for this violence?
See, of course, the BJP has built up immense pressure on Trinamool Congress, and the Trinamool Congress, of course, it controls the pockets in the state. You know, it's still quite powerful. It's powerful in the assembly, so they are retaliating. So it's a fight which is going on. Basically, it's build up of the pressure. There's an extremely energized BJP that we see now in the state after the election results, and so this is happening now. Having said that, I must also say that modern Bengal has a long history of political violence. 200 years back, it started, with a person called Titu Mir fighting the British imperialism. Then in early 20th century, we find this Anushilan Shamiti and Jugantar, they are fighting the Britishers. And then post-independence, we see continuously for 3 or 4 decades fight between the communists and the Congress. In 1977, when the left came to power in the state, they targeted the landowners who were predominantly with Congress. So it was a fight basically between the Congress and the left. And then in 2011, when the left was dislodged, we have seen tremendous violence in the state as well. So now also we see a lot of violence. I will still call it sporadic violence, but given the history of political violence in the state, I would say that it is still quite under control.
Shubhajit, the TMC and the BJP have been engaged in this vitriolic blame game against each other. You saw the Jai Shri Ram rallies being organized by the BJP. You saw Mamata Banerjee's response. What's the political fallout of this? What is the BJP trying to achieve?
Well, at this point, they're just building up the pressure. And so far, they have clarified that they are not pushing for something like president's rule in the state, because that could backfire. Because Mamata Banerjee still is got about 75% plus seats, I think, in the assembly. So that they're not doing. But what they're doing, actually, they are building up a lot of pressure on Mamata Banerjee in the sense that they are bringing out, she cancelled all the victory rallies after the elections. And they are bringing out victory rallies. That is one side of the story. The other is, as I said, there is a history of political violence, and there is on Trinamool side, they have lost in many places. They have lost 18 seats after all to BJP, and as a result, they are trying to gain control of those areas. And when you try to gain control of the areas, which means physically, it's like a war, it's like a battle. Like you have to physically take control of those areas, and you have to also earn the confidence of your supporters who have already left you. So in the process, there has to be some clashes. We have seen this in the past. We have seen in 2011 when Mamata Banerjee came to power. She targeted all the party offices of CPIM. CPIM has given this data that in last 7 years, 213 of their people have been killed. So it has always been part of the history, and now they're trying to control each other's territory, trying to enter each other's territory, and BJP is also doing that. BJP is also a formidable power now in the state, and naturally there are clashes. Fallout, I don't know really how far they will take it. The next step is perhaps president's rule if they push for it, but as of now, it looks unlikely.
Okay, Shubhajit, one last word. You call this sporadic incidents of violence. Do you get the feeling that the state administration is in control as far as law and order is concerned? What's been the government's response to this?
Well, the state administration, I won't say has able to control it everywhere. So many people actually have died after the elections on both sides. So if state administration would have been in control, then this would not have happened, definitely. So they are not. But, well, this is also not true that, you know, there are certain pockets where BJP is powerful and Trinamool is trying to, you know, have a control over these areas. But it is also not correct to say that the state government and the state administration has lost complete control over the situation. It has flared up, and I hope both sides will now come together. Now, what is unfortunate is, you know, there is a kind of a standoff. Both sides are not talking to each other. The state-center relationship has to be, there has to come into a situation when they can talk to each other as far as state-center relationship is concerned, which is going down. Now, I hope they will start talking to each other and this will come down as soon as possible.
All right, Shivaji, we leave it there. Many thanks indeed for joining us. If you have been, thank you so much for watching.